In the relentless rhythm of the 21st century, stress has become an almost ubiquitous companion. From the demanding pressures of professional careers and the intricate complexities of personal relationships to the constant barrage of information from digital devices and the pervasive uncertainties of global events, modern life presents an unending array of stressors. The pace is often frantic, the expectations high, and the boundaries between work and personal life increasingly blurred. Consequently, a significant portion of the global population experiences stress not as an occasional visitor, but as a chronic resident, subtly yet profoundly impacting their physical health, mental well-being, and overall quality of life. This chronic stress manifests in myriad ways: persistent fatigue, irritability, difficulty concentrating, sleep disturbances, digestive issues, and even a weakened immune system. It can erode our resilience, diminish our joy, and make us feel constantly on edge, trapped in a cycle of reactivity rather than living with intention and calm. While external circumstances often trigger stress, our internal response to these circumstances ultimately determines their impact. The challenge, therefore, lies not always in eliminating stressors, which is often impossible, but in cultivating effective strategies to manage our physiological and psychological reactions to them. Amidst this modern maelstrom, there exists a remarkably simple, universally accessible, and profoundly powerful tool for stress relief: our breath. Often taken for granted, an unconscious act that sustains life, breathing is far more than just the exchange of gases. It is a direct and immediate gateway to our autonomic nervous system, the intricate control center that regulates involuntary bodily functions, including our stress response. Unlike our heartbeat or digestion, our breath is unique in that it operates on both an automatic and a conscious level. We can breathe without thinking, yet we can also deliberately control its pace, depth, and rhythm. This dual nature of breath offers an extraordinary opportunity. By consciously altering our breathing patterns, we can send direct signals to our brain and nervous system, shifting our internal state from one of tension and alarm to one of calm and relaxation. It is a biological feedback loop, a direct line of communication between our conscious mind and our deepest physiological processes. Despite its profound potential, the power of conscious breathing for stress management remains largely underestimated and underutilized by many. This guide aims to rectify that, unveiling the scientific underpinnings and practical applications of this ancient yet cutting-edge practice. This comprehensive guide embarks on a journey to explore the transformative potential of breathing exercises for stress relief. We will delve deep into the intricate relationship between our breath, our brain, and our body's stress response. Beginning with a foundational understanding of stress itself and the underlying science of respiration, we will then systematically explore a wide array of breathing techniques, ranging from simple, immediate stress busters to more advanced practices rooted in ancient traditions. Each technique will be meticulously explained, providing step-by-step instructions, outlining its specific benefits, and offering practical tips for effective implementation. Beyond just the how-to, we will discuss how to seamlessly integrate these practices into the fabric of daily life, addressing common challenges and offering solutions for consistency. Furthermore, we will explore the application of breathwork for specific populations and conditions, and touch upon complementary practices that amplify its benefits. Finally, we will look to the future, examine emerging research and innovations in the field of breathwork. Our aim is to empower you with the knowledge and practical tools to harness the innate power of your breath, transforming it from an unconscious act into a deliberate, potent ally in your quest for greater calm, resilience, and overall well-being in a stressful world. To effectively utilize breathing exercises for stress relief, it's crucial to first understand what stress is, how it impacts our body, and the intricate physiological mechanisms involved. Stress is not merely a feeling, it's a complex cascade of biological responses designed for survival. What is stress? Eustress versus distress. Stress, in its broadest sense, is the body's reaction to any demand or threat. These demands, known as stressors, can be physical, like an injury, illness, or extreme temperatures, psychological, like deadlines, conflicts, or public speaking, or environmental, like noise, pollution. The body's response to these stressors is designed to help us cope and adapt. It's important to distinguish between two primary types of stress: eustress, good stress. This is a positive, healthy form of stress that can motivate us, enhance performance, and contribute to personal growth. Examples include the excitement of a new challenge, the energy before sports competition, or the focus required to meet a deadline. Eustress is typically short-lived and manageable, leading to feelings of accomplishment and satisfaction. It keeps us alert, engaged, and ready for action. Distress, bad stress. This is the type of stress we typically refer to when we talk about being stressed. It occurs when demands exceed our perceived ability to cope, leading to feelings of overwhelm, anxiety, and exhaustion. Distress can be acute, so short-term, intense, like a sudden emergency, or chronic, long-term, persistent, like ongoing financial problems or a difficult job. It is chronic distress that poses the most significant threat to our health and well-being, as the body remains in a state of heightened arousal for extended periods of time. This guide primarily focuses on mitigating the negative effects of distress, particularly chronic distress, through conscious breathing. When faced with a perceived threat, whether real or imagined, our body automatically triggers an ancient survival mechanism known as the fight, flight, or freeze response. This response is orchestrated by the sympathetic nervous system, a branch of the autonomic nervous system. Its primary role is to prepare the body for immediate action. Here's what happens during SNS activation: adrenaline, or epinephrine, and norepinephrine, release. The adrenal glands, located atop the kidneys, rapidly release these powerful hormones into the bloodstream. Adrenaline is responsible for the immediate surge of energy. Increased heart rate and blood pressure. The heart pumps faster and harder, directing more oxygenated blood to the muscles and brain, preparing them for physical exertion. Rapid, shallow breathing. Respiration becomes quicker and often confined to the chest. Thoracic breathing. This increases oxygen intake, but often at the expense of efficient carbon dioxide removal, leading to an imbalance. Muscle tension. Muscles throughout the body tense up, ready to spring into action. This can lead to stiffness, aches, and pains if prolonged. Pupil dilation. Pupils widen to allow more light to enter the eyes, enhancing vision for potential threats. Digestion slows down. Blood flow is diverted away from non-essential functions like digestion to prioritize immediate survival needs. This can lead to digestive upset. Immune system suppression short-term. While acute stress can temporarily boost some immune functions, chronic SNS activation can suppress the immune system, making the body more vulnerable to illness. Cognitive changes. Focus narrows to the perceived threat, and the ability for complex problem-solving or creative thinking may diminish. While essential for escaping danger, this on-switch of the SNS is designed for short bursts. When it remains activated for extended periods due to chronic stressors, it begins to wear down the body's systems, leading to the myriad health problems associated with chronic stress. Fortunately, our bodies also possess a counterbalance to the SNS, the parasympathetic nervous system, PNS. Often referred to as the rest and digest system, the PNS is responsible for calming the body down after a threat has passed, restoring equilibrium and promoting healing and recovery. It acts as the off switch for the stress response. When the PNS is activated, heart rate and blood pressure decrease, the heart slows down and blood pressure returns to normal levels. Breathing slows and deepens. Respiration becomes slower, deeper, and more rhythmic, engaging the diaphragm. This optimizes oxygen-carbon dioxide exchange. Muscles relax. Muscle tension diminishes, promoting a sense of ease and relaxation. Digestion resumes. Blood flow returns to the digestive organs, allowing for efficient nutrient absorption. Immune system function enhances. The body's natural healing and restorative processes are promoted. Cognitive function improves. The mind becomes clearer, allowing for better concentration, creativity, and problem solving. The goal of stress management, and particularly of breathing exercises, is to consciously activate the PNS, thereby counteracting the effects of SNS overdrive and bringing the body back into a state of balance. At the heart of the PNS's calming influence lies the vagus nerve. This remarkable cranial nerve is the longest and most complex of the cranial nerves, extending from the brainstem down through the neck, chest, and abdomen, innervating vital organs such as the heart, lungs, and digestive system. The term vagus comes from the Latin word for wandering, aptly describing its extensive reach. The vagus nerve plays a critical role in regulating numerous bodily functions, but its significance in stress relief cannot be overstated. It is the primary conduit through which the brain communicates with the PNS, effectively acting as the body's internal calm down button. When the vagus nerve is stimulated, it triggers a cascade of physiological responses that promote relaxation. Slows heart rate. It releases acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter that slows the heart rate. Reduces inflammation. It has anti-inflammatory effects throughout the body. Improves digestion. It stimulates digestive processes. Modulates immune response. It helps regulate the immune system. Influences mood. It impacts neurotransmitters like serotonin, which are crucial for mood regulation. Crucially, the vagus nerve is highly responsive to our breathing patterns. Deep, slow, rhythmic breathing, particularly diaphragmatic breathing, directly stimulates the vagus nerve. This stimulation sends signals to the brain that the body is safe, promoting a shift from SNS dominance to PNS dominance. This is why conscious breathing is such a potent tool for stress reduction. It directly taps into the body's most powerful relaxation pathway. Strengthening the vagal tone, the activity of the vagus nerve through consistent breathing practices, enhances our ability to recover from stress more quickly and maintain a state of calm. Beyond the immediate nervous system responses, stress also triggers significant hormonal changes. The primary hormones involved in the stress response are cortisol and adrenaline, or epinephrine, both released by the adrenal glands. Adrenaline, or epinephrine. As mentioned, this hormone is responsible for the immediate rapid surge of energy and heightened senses during the fight or flight response. It increases heart rate, blood pressure, and boosts glucose levels for quick energy. Its effects are powerful, but typically short-lived. Cortisol, often referred to as the stress hormone, plays a more sustained role in the stress response. While essential for various bodily functions like regulating metabolism, reducing inflammation, and assisting with memory formation, chronic elevation of cortisol due to persistent stress can have detrimental effects. Impaired immune function. Prolonged high cortisol levels can suppress the immune system, making individuals more susceptible to infections and slowing wound healing. Weight gain. Cortisol can promote fat storage, particularly around the abdomen. Sleep disturbances. High cortisol levels, especially at night, can interfere with sleep patterns leading to insomnia, restless sleep, and chronic fatigue. Digestive issues. It can contribute to problems like irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, and indigestion. Cognitive impairment. Chronic stress can affect the hippocampus, a brain region crucial for memory and learning, leading to brain fog and difficulty concentrating. Increased blood sugar. Cortisol increases glucose in the bloodstream, which can be problematic for individuals with insulin resistance or diabetes. Cardiovascular problems. Sustained high levels contribute to increased blood pressure and inflammation, raising the risk of heart disease. Reproductive issues. In women, chronic stress can disrupt menstrual cycles and fertility, In men, it can affect testosterone levels and sperm production. Accelerated aging. The cellular damage caused by chronic stress, particularly through its impact on telomeres, protective caps on chromosomes, can accelerate the aging process. Given these profound and widespread consequences, stress management is not merely about feeling better in the moment. It is a critical component of preventative healthcare and maintaining long-term vitality. Breathing exercises offer a direct, non-pharmacological pathway to interrupt the stress response cycle and foster a state of physiological and psychological resilience. Understanding the mechanics and physiological impact of breathing is fundamental to appreciating why conscious breathing is so effective for stress relief. Our breath is not just a passive act, it's an active, dynamic process that profoundly influences our nervous system, hormonal balance, and overall cellular function. Understanding the mechanics and physiological impact of breathing is fundamental to appreciating why conscious breathwork is so effective for stress relief. Our breath is not just a passive act. It's an active, dynamic process that profoundly influences our nervous system, hormonal balance, and overall cellular function. Respiration involves the intake of oxygen and the expulsion of carbon dioxide, essential for cellular metabolism. While this process seems simple, the way we breathe, specifically which muscles we primarily engage, has a significant impact on our physiological state. There are two primary patterns of breathing: diaphragmatic breathing, also known as belly breathing; mechanics. This is the most efficient and natural way to breathe, characteristic of babies and people in a relaxed state. It primarily involves the diaphragm, a dome-shaped muscle located at the base of the lungs, separating the chest cavity from the abdominal cavity. Inhalation: as you inhale, the diaphragm contracts and flattens, moving downwards. This creates a vacuum in the chest cavity, pulling air into the lungs. The downward movement of the diaphragm gently pushes the abdominal organs outwards, causing the belly to expand. Exhalation: as you exhale, the diaphragm relaxes and moves upwards, pushing air out of the lungs. The belly naturally draws inward. Characteristics: slow, deep, rhythmic, quiet. The chest remains relatively still while the abdomen moves visibly. Physiological impact: diaphragmatic breathing directly stimulates the vagus nerve, activates PNS, lowers heart rate and blood pressure, reduces muscle tension, and promotes a sense of calm. It optimizes oxygen exchange and carbon dioxide removal. Thoracic breathing. Mechanics: this type of breathing primarily involves the intercostal muscles, in between the ribs, and accessory muscles in the neck and shoulders. The diaphragm is minimally engaged. Inhalation: as you inhale, the chest rises and falls. The shoulders may elevate, and the breath often feels shallow and confined to the upper chest. Exhalation: the chest falls, and the breath is often quick. Characteristics: fast, shallow, often audible, and can involve visible movement of the chest and shoulders. Physiological impact: thoracic breathing is characteristic of the fight or flight response. It signals to the brain that there might be a threat, activating the SNS. This type of breathing can lead to hyperventilation, breathing too much oxygen and expelling too much carbon dioxide, which can cause dizziness, tingling, anxiety, and exacerbate stress. It is less efficient for gas exchange and can lead to chronic muscle tension in the neck and shoulders. For stress relief, the goal is to consciously shift from habitual thoracic breathing to more efficient and calming diaphragmatic breathing. This fundamental shift is the cornerstone of most effective breathing exercises. The primary function of respiration is the exchange of gases, taking in oxygen and expelling carbon dioxide. This seemingly simple process is vital for maintaining homeostasis, the body's internal balance, and has profound implications for our stress levels. Oxygen, O2, Every cell in our body requires oxygen to produce energy through cellular respiration. Without adequate oxygen, cells cannot function properly, leading to fatigue and impaired organ function. Deep, efficient breathing ensures a sufficient supply of oxygen to all tissues. Carbon dioxide, CO2, often mistakenly viewed solely as a waste product, plays a crucial, dynamic role in our physiology. pH balance. CO2 is a major regulator of blood pH, acidity, or alkalinity. When we breathe too rapidly or shallowly, as in hyperventilation during stress, we exhale too much CO2. This causes blood pH to become more alkaline, or respiratory alkalosis. Even a slight shift in pH can profoundly affect enzyme function, nerve activity, and blood flow. Oxygen delivery, Bohr effect. Counterintuitively, CO2 is essential for the efficient release of oxygen from hemoglobin in red blood cells to the body's tissues. This phenomenon is known as the Bohr effect. If CO2 levels are too low due to overbreathing, hemoglobin holds on to oxygen more tightly, meaning less oxygen is actually delivered to the cells, even if there's plenty in the blood. This can lead to feelings of breathlessness, lightheadedness, and fatigue. Blood vessel dilation. CO2 is a potent vasodilator, meaning it helps to widen blood vessels. Adequate CO2 levels ensure proper blood flow to the brain and other organs. Low CO2 can lead to vasoconstriction, reducing blood flow and contributing to symptoms like dizziness and tingling. When we are stressed, we tend to breathe faster and shallower, leading to a reduction in CO2. This imbalance can trigger or exacerbate feelings of anxiety, panic, and physical discomfort, creating a vicious cycle. Conscious, slow, deep breathing helps to normalize CO2 levels, restoring pH balance, optimizing oxygen delivery, and signaling safety to the brain, thereby breaking the stress cycle. This precise regulation of gas exchange is a key mechanism by which breathwork calms the nervous system. The connection between our breath and our brain is a two-way street, forming a powerful feedback loop that directly influences our emotional state and cognitive function. Key brain regions are intimately involved in this relationship. The amygdala, often referred to as the brain's fear center, the amygdala is responsible for processing emotions, particularly fear and anxiety. When the amygdala detects a threat, it triggers the stress response. Rapid, shallow breathing sends signals to the amygdala that reinforce the perception of danger, keeping it on high alert. Conversely, slow, deep breathing sends signals of safety, helping to calm the amygdala and reduce its reactivity. The prefrontal cortex, PFC, located at the front of the brain, the prefrontal cortex is responsible for executive functions such as planning, decision-making, problem-solving, attention, and emotional regulation. In a state of stress, the PFC's activity can be diminished, leading to brain fog and difficulty thinking clearly. Conscious, controlled breathing, by activating the PNS, helps to restore optimal blood flow and neural activity to the PFC, enhancing cognitive function and our ability to rationally assess and respond to stressful situations rather than react impulsively. The locus coeruleus. This small nucleus in the brainstem is a primary source of norepinephrine, noradrenaline, in the brain, a neurotransmitter involved in arousal, attention, and the stress response. The locus coeruleus is highly sensitive to changes in breathing patterns. Rapid breathing increases LC activity, leading to heightened vigilance and anxiety. Slow, controlled breathing reduces LC activity, promoting a state of calm and focused attention. The insula. This brain region plays a crucial role in interoception, our perception of the body's internal state. It integrates sensory information from the body, including breath, with emotional and cognitive processes. Conscious breathing practices enhance our awareness of our internal bodily sensations, allowing us to better recognize and regulate our emotional states. By directly regulating our breath, we influence the activity of these brain regions. Slow, deliberate breathing patterns signal to the amygdala that there is no immediate threat, allowing the prefrontal cortex to regain control and engage in more rational processing. This direct neural pathway is a cornerstone of how breathwork promotes emotional regulation and reduces the subjective experience of stress. Heart rate variability, HRV, is a powerful and increasingly recognized biomarker for stress, resilience, and overall autonomic nervous system balance. Unlike heart rate, which measures the number of beats per minute, HRV measures the variation in time between successive heartbeats. It's not about how fast your heart is beating, but how much the interval between beats fluctuates. High HRV indicates a healthy, adaptable, and resilient nervous system. It means your heart rate is able to quickly adjust to different demands, reflecting a strong balance between the SNS and PNS. A high HRV is associated with better emotional regulation, cognitive function, and physical health. Low HRV suggests that the nervous system is stuck in a state of chronic stress or fight or flight. The heart rate becomes more rigid and less responsive to environmental changes, indicating SNS dominance and diminished PNS activity. Low HRV is linked to chronic stress, anxiety, depression, inflammation, and an increased risk of cardiovascular disease. The link to breathing. Breathing exercises are one of the most effective ways to directly influence and improve HRV. Slow, deep diaphragmatic breathing, particularly at a specific resonant frequency, around 5 to 6 breaths per minute, known as coherent breathing, maximizes HRV. This is because respiratory sinus arrhythmia, during inhalation, the heart rate naturally speeds up slightly, and during exhalation, it slows down. This natural fluctuation is called respiratory sinus arrhythmia. It is primarily driven by beyond hormones. Breathing also exerts a significant influence on the balance of crucial neurotransmitters and neuropeptides in the brain, which are chemical messengers that regulate mood, cognition, and stress response. Gamma-aminobutyric acid, or GABA. GABA is the primary inhibitory neurotransmitter in the brain, meaning it slows down brain activity. It plays a critical role in reducing anxiety, promoting relaxation, and inducing sleep. Many anti-anxiety medications work by enhancing GABA's effects. Deep, slow breathing has been shown to increase GABA levels, leading to a calming effect on the nervous system. Serotonin. Often associated with feelings of well-being and happiness, serotonin is a neurotransmitter that regulates mood, sleep, appetite, and digestion. Imbalances in serotonin are linked to depression and anxiety. While the connection is complex, some research suggests that conscious breathing practices can positively influence serotonin pathways, contributing to improved mood. Dopamine. Involved in reward, motivation, and pleasure, dopamine also plays a role in focus and attention. While not as directly impacted as GABA, a balanced nervous system, promoted by breathwork, can support healthy dopamine regulation, contributing to a sense of well-being and reduced stress-induced cravings. Oxytocin. Known as the love hormone or bonding hormone, oxytocin is released during social connection and touch, promoting feelings of trust and calm. Some studies suggest that vagal nerve stimulation, which is enhanced by deep breathing, can increase oxytocin levels, contributing to feelings of relaxation and social connection. Endorphins. These natural opioids produced by the body act as pain relievers and mood elevators, contributing to feelings of euphoria, the runner's high. While more commonly associated with intense physical activity, some forms of breath work, particularly those involving sustained effort or rhythmic patterns, may also contribute to endorphin release, providing a sense of well-being and reduced perception of stress. Brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. While not a neurotransmitter, BDNF is a crucial protein that supports the growth, survival, and differentiation of new neurons and synapses. It is vital for learning, memory, and overall brain health. Chronic stress can reduce BDNF levels, while practices that promote relaxation and neuroplasticity, like mindful breathing, may help to preserve or even increase BDNF, supporting brain resilience. By influencing these complex neurochemical pathways, conscious breathing provides a powerful, non-pharmacological means to modulate our internal chemistry, fostering a state of calm, emotional stability, and mental clarity, thereby directly counteracting the neurochemical imbalances associated with chronic stress. The autonomic nervous system is the master control system for involuntary bodily functions, operating largely below the level of conscious awareness. It is divided into two primary branches that work in opposition to maintain balance: the sympathetic nervous system, or SNS, and the parasympathetic nervous system, or PNS. We've already discussed their individual roles in the stress response, but it's crucial to understand how breathing acts as a direct lever to influence this entire system. The ANS directly controls our breathing rate and depth. When the SNS is dominant during stress, breathing becomes rapid and shallow. When the PNS is dominant during relaxation, breathing becomes slow and deep. However, the unique aspect of breathing is that it's the only autonomic function we can consciously control. This allows us to intentionally override the automatic stress response. Here is how breathing interacts with the ANS. Conscious regulation. By deliberately slowing down our breath, making it deeper and more diaphragmatic, we send direct signals to the brainstem, where the ANS is regulated. These signals indicate that the body is safe and that the fight or flight response is no longer necessary. Vagal nerve activation. As previously detailed, slow, deep breathing directly stimulates the vagus nerve, which is the primary nerve of the PNS. This stimulation enhances vagal tone, increasing PNS activity and promoting the rest and digest state. Feedback loop. The brain and the ANS are constantly receiving feedback from the body. When our breathing is erratic, it feeds back to the brain, reinforcing the perception of threat and keeping the SNS activated. Conversely, when our breathing is calm and rhythmic, it feeds back to the brain, signaling safety and encouraging PNS dominance. This creates a positive feedback loop where calm breathing leads to a calmer nervous system, which in turn makes calm breathing more natural. Breaking the stress cycle. In a stressful situation, the SNS kicks in, leading to rapid breathing, increased heart rate, and muscle tension. This physiological state then feeds back to the brain, reinforcing the perception of stress and anxiety. By consciously interrupting this cycle with controlled breathing, we can break the feedback loop. Even if the external stressor remained, our internal physiological response can be modulated, preventing the body from spiraling into chronic stress. In essence, conscious breathing acts as a remote control for our autonomic nervous system. It allows us to intentionally shift from a state of physiological arousal and alarm to one of calm, recovery, and balance. This ability to directly influence the ANS through breath is what makes breathing exercises such a powerful and accessible tool for managing stress and enhancing overall well-being.